I had some dreams, they were clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today I'm doing You're So Vain by Carly Simon. This one was a recent request and I had a ton of fun learning it. The piano part in the verses as played by Carly is fairly complicated, but a more streamlined version still sounds great. So I'm gonna go through and teach the easier version of everything, but then I'll come back for some of those more advanced details in the verse. Then you can pick and choose if you want to incorporate any of them into your version. Let's jump in. Okay, so first off, I recommend getting the chords and lyrics chart. I put a link down in the description. You can download that, print it out, and then you can see where the chords and the lyrics line up with each other. For now, I'm gonna skip over that sort of funky bass intro. I think that's optional and it's kind of tough, so I'll do that at the end. Let's just jump in to the verse and learn the chords for that. Here's the first line of that verse. By the way, we're in the key of C major, all white keys, so that makes it a little easier. Here's middle C for reference, and actually that's gonna be in this first chord, in this A minor 7. This is what we're gonna play. It's gonna be a G, a C, and an E. A minor 7, there's no A in it. That's because the left hand is gonna play that as the bass note. I'm using my second finger there. That's gonna help flow with everything a little bit. We've got 2 measures of that. And then next chord is an F chord. We're actually gonna jump up to a pretty high voicing of this. So it's C, F, and A. And the left hand, we just kind of skip down to our 4th finger. So you don't have to move your left hand, just put down that 4th finger on the F bass note. Notice that that is the same shape. And then it goes right back. Now, we're in 4/4 time. So each of these measures gets 4 counts. And I'm actually gonna just right off the bat, to give it a little more energy, add some quarter note chords in the right hand, just playing on every count. So this first line with the singing would sound like, you walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your hat strategic. So right there on strategically, that is the line starting over again. It repeats once, and I'm singing it down an octave, fits my voice a little better. After that, we're kind of in a new phase of the verse. Here's that next line, and the right hand's gonna go all the way up here. It's actually the same shape as all the chords we've been doing. It's just a little higher to put your thumb on E, A, and C. This is gonna be the F major 7 chord. Once you add a F bass note in the left hand, you get that nice jazzy major 7 sound. And that's a measure with 2 chords in it, so it's sort of split in half. The first 2 counts are gonna be on this F major 7. Next, we've got G on counts 3 and 4. This right hand shape is just gonna step down. Yet again, same shape. It's gonna be D, G, B. And the left hand's gonna step up, 3rd finger on a G bass note. So 3, 4. Here's another measure of 2 chords. And the right hand can actually stay exactly where it is. The bass note just needs to change to an E to get that E minor 7 sound. And then that's for 2 counts, and then to the A minor 7. So again, for this line so far, we've got one eye in the mirror as. Now we're gonna go up to the same F we did in the first line. Watched yourself gavotte. For this C, I'm gonna just stretch my thumb up, and I'm actually just gonna do these 2 notes together. Watched yourself gavotte. Now, starting here, it gets a little bit tricky and complicated. I'll try to give you all the counting for it, but the easiest way to think about everything I'm about to show you is that the right hand's just gonna kind of play along and play off of the rhythm that your singing does already. So if you know how the song goes and you know how to sing it, it'll, I think, come a little easier that way. And going forward from here, we are going to need to think about some 8th notes. So we've been counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to divide that beat in half and also be thinking about 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So for this F measure at the end of the second line, we're going to kind of play the vocal melody. Watch yourself go by. So that's, you hit that full F chord, but then just on single notes, you can do C, C, D, and then here. And now technically the timing on that is like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you kind of hit this C anticipating it a little bit early. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. So that's a measure of 2/4 time of C. No, it's getting a little complicated here, but you're just on that for 2 counts before we kind of are going to do, well, here's the next line. So we've got watch yourself go by, 1, 2. Now, I'm just going to play you what this is going to sound like. And all the girls dreamed that they'd be your partner. They'd be your partner. And so that's obviously leading into the chorus. So underlying just the left hand here, when we land in this measure of 2/4 time C, you hit that C, and actually you can just hold it out into the first 2 counts of the next line. Yourself goodbye, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then as soon as we get to this F, because the kick drum starts to kick in, I'm probably just gonna do 1, 2, start pulsing quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, just on every count in the left hand to kind of start building that energy. And the foundation of the right hand here in this last line is going to be, so we were on C and E, and then when it goes down to the G, we're just going to step this shape down 1. So on B and D, and then we're going to step it down 1 more time, so it's on A and C. And then on top of that, you can kind of play around with the vocal melody. And all the girls dreamed that. So we're just going back and forth between the 3rd finger and then stepping to the 4th finger and back. Same thing here. Timing there is a little tricky. It's like, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and again, and C still ringing out from the line before. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and that's where the left hand starts pulsing. And here's what this is going to sound like. They'd be your partner. They'd be your partner. So that's, you're basically doing 1 and 3 here, and you're thinking of the melody as they'd be your partner. So C, C, A, C, D, C, C, A, C, D, C. But anytime it's not the A note is the melody, you're going to just hit the A anyway to harmonize. So C, C, A, C, D, C, C, A, C, D, C. So A hits on everything. Unless that's too tricky for your hand, you could totally just play the melody without the harmony. Timing there is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3. I think it's a lot easier if you just think about it as matching what you're singing. They'd be your partner. They'd be your partner. And if you find that really tricky to coordinate the 2 hands, you could just hold the left hand bass note. They'd be your partner. They'd be your partner. And then we're in the chorus. Before we do the chorus, I want to just add a little bit more rhythm to this because now we have talked about 8th notes. So going back to the first line, I am going to add a little bit more left hand rhythm here where I'm going to play not only on beat 1, but also the and after 2. So like 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Just gives it a little bit more energy. If you need help with that rhythm, I made a video all about it. Really common left hand accompaniment pattern. Also, in the second line, when it goes from the E minor 7 to the A minor 7, I'm actually going to anticipate that change to the A minor 7 by an 8th note. So like 1, 2, and 3, 4. And I will hit on beat 4 just so that we kind of pick the rhythm back up. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Let me just play through that whole verse one more time with all the details. You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf, it was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself gavotte. And all the girls dreamed that they'd be your partner. They'd be your partner, and you're so... Yeah, okay, so we're in the chorus. Let's do it. So here's the underlying chords for the chorus. Starts out on C, same way we were doing it in the verses. I'm going to start doing octaves in the left hand here, just to give it more power. If you can't stretch that, no sweat. You could just do the lower bass note if you want to give it that power. The D minor 7 chord in that third measure is going to be, of course, you're going to step the bass note up to D, and then we can keep our third finger on C and just move these outside notes up. Really cool sounding chord there. It's A, C, and F. So with the rhythm we've been doing, that would be, you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. Of course, we go to this A minor 7, same way we've been doing it, just adding octaves. Vain. I bet you think. So we're doing a different inversion on F this time. It's one kind of inversion shape down from what we had before. A, C, and F. I bet you think this song is about you, don't you, don't you? So this is G6. So we got G, B, and E here, doing the G bass notes there. So that's a super legit and easy way to play the chorus. I'm going to add a little bit more rhythm to it based on what you hear in the recording. And for this rhythm, I'm actually going to pulse on the quarter notes in the left hand. And remember, at the end of the verse going into the chorus, we started doing that anyway on the they'd be your partner. So we're going to kind of keep that left hand bass pulse going here. You're so vain. And by holding down the quarter notes in the left hand, that allows us to do a little bit more of a complicated and offbeat rhythm in the right hand. This is what it's going to sound like. You're so vain. You'd probably think this song is about you. You're so... So we're playing on, in the first measure there, we're playing on beat 1, 2, and then left hand hits 3 and 4. And again, so you can just think of the left hand hitting the counts, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the right hand does 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... in the second measure, we're not going to hit beat 1. We're still going to hit beat 2 and the and after 3, and then we're not going to hit the and after 4. So 2 of the counts are the same, and we're just not doing the first and last count in the second one. So when you put that together with the first measure, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, if this is too complicated, you can keep it as it was before. So now we've done these 2 measures, then we do the same thing on D minor 7. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. So just like the first measure of the chorus, we hit on the and after 4, but we went back to the C, an 8th note earlier there. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the D minor to the C in the second half of the line follows the same 2 measure pattern that the 2 measures of C did. And then of course we have the A minor 7, which is going to follow the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then once we get to the Fs here, the rhythm really breaks down and just hits on a few of the words. So it's going to sound like, I bet you think this song is about you, don't you, don't you? So the counting there is technically 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. I think this is easier, and I even bolded the syllables on your chords and lyrics chart where these hit. It's on, I bet you think this song is again, I bet you think this song is about. So it hits the first G6 kind of when you're in the middle of about you, and then the rest of the hits are on don't you. The first and third choruses end like that. About you, don't you, and then kind of hold out. There's one extra don't you. There's a third don't you in the second and fourth choruses. So keep that in mind, and you just hit on the don't again. So let me just sing through that whole chorus with all those details. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Oh, you had me. So that would be going into the next verse. That second verse is the same as the first one, just of course different words. Then we've got another chorus. Then we've got the guitar solo section, which you can just play that instrumental as a verse. The only thing is it's the first two lines of the verse as we've done it, just no singing. But then when we get to the last line of the verse and it gets to the C, I had some dreams, they were clouds. You do sing that part. So keep that in mind. Then we got another chorus, another verse, and another chorus. It's all the same. And then we get to the outro. So let's talk about that. The outro is basically, it's like a chorus. We go to that main part. So here's the chords for the outro. It's just the first line of the chorus 3 times. The first of which you don't sing anything. And then the next time around you sing, you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. Again, you could just do the simple rhythm with the quarter notes if you like. It just sings through that twice, and the song fades out. That's hard to do, just you and piano. So I'll probably just end on, you probably think this song is about you. So landing on that C, and then the song is over. Now, as promised, I'm going to loop back around and do some of the more optional and advanced parts. If any of this is too tricky, you can just skip ahead and watch the full cover. But I didn't want to leave anything out. So, as you probably know, the song starts with this really interesting son of a gun. Here's the notes you need for it. A, E, A, and C. Here's middle C. It's 8 measures of this. And I would say the simplest version of this would be 1E and a 2E and a 3, 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3, 4. So I'm counting 16th notes, dividing the beat in 4. 1E and a 2. 1E and a 2E and a 3, 4. Does that 8 times. If you want to make it sound exactly like what the bass does, you can add this E and just go a little bit quicker on those notes. I'm not going to bother trying to count it out mathematically, but you can feel it out. It's like... So, and all the while, some guitar kind of starts sneaking in. There's actually some piano that sneaks in, but you would need more than 2 hands. So if you're going to do this part, I feel like it just makes sense to kind of stick with the bass part. And then kind of transitioning into that first verse. When you get to the 8th measure of intro, you're going to do this little melody. So on beat 1 of that measure, 1, you can hit the A. And then jump down to put your pinky on E, and that's going to be on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, and. So that's hitting the G on the and after 3. And then you can just land right on, you walked into the party. So I said that there was more to the verses. I'll show you that now. Here's the way Carly Simon plays it on the recording. So, she actually probably does less with the left hand, but I'm just keeping that quarter note pulse because I don't have a drummer and bass player and guitar player with me filling out some of those rhythms. So just holding that down. But this is exactly what her right hand does. You hit on beat 1, the A minor 7 chord, and then immediately you drop that C down to a G. You could use your second finger there, and that's on beat 2. 1, 2, and then on the and after 2, you're gonna jump down and do this fourth here, E and A. 1, 2, and 3, and then on beat the and after 3, you just hit the E by itself. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and of course voicing the whole A minor 7. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So we've got 1 and 2, and kind of stepping down to basically like a C major shape here with second and fourth finger on the E and the G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so anticipating getting to this back to the A minor 7, an eighth note early. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and then there's this really cool moment here. So you can kind of collapse your hand into more of a like an A minor shape here with your thumb on A, and you're going to go back and forth between hitting. It's a nice dissonant sound there. B and C together, and E, and then just stepping that into thumb on A, so it kind of turns into a A minor sound. And the timing there is 1, 2, and 3, and 4. She doesn't do it exactly the same every time. You can maybe sometimes go 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and not hit the A. Play around with it. But that's all there is to it, but it's pretty involved to play and sing at the same time, so definitely feel free to keep the quarter notes. All right, thanks for sticking with me. This was a pretty complicated one, but I'm going to just play it all the way through now so you can see how it all fits together. And I'm going to stick with the easy version of the verse for the first verse and then do the full thing for all the subsequent verses. If you found this successful, hopefully you're midway through a journey of not being able to play You're So Vain to being able to successfully play You're So Vain. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Give it a like and hit the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this. Also drop a request in the comments. Like I said, this one was a request. All right, here's my version of You're So Vain. Son of a gun. You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf, it was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself go by. So vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Oh, you had me several years ago when I was still quite naive, and you said such a pretty pair, and that you would never leave. But you gave away the things you loved, and one of them was me. I had some dreams, they were clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. Probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Don't you? bet you think this song is about you, don't you, don't you? Well, I heard you went up to Saratoga and your horse naturally won. Then you flew your Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun. When you're where you should be all the time, and when you're not, you're with some underworld spy or the wife of a close friend, wife of a close friend, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you, don't you, don't you, don't you? You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so